Welcome to the 20th and the final episode of the Grand Cosmic Story. How will our universe end? A big rip or crunch? What happens to us after we die? Do we cease to exist or end up as ghosts in some higher dimensions? Or will we spend our eternity in heaven or hell?
Are you curious about the world around you? Do you wonder what else is out there beyond our world? Dr. Latha Christie, a scientist and an author, will take you on a journey through the universe. Join her in exploring the universe through her web series, The Grand Cosmic Story. Stay tuned to find out what today's episode is all about.
Cosmologists have been trying to look farther out into space and farther back in time using powerful telescopes to understand the mysterious universe. They have found that it is more mysterious than they have ever imagined. Through a special class of stars called Cepheid variables or standard candles, astronomers are trying to find out if the expansion of the universe would stop in some distant future, making the universe collapse in a fiery big crunch, or whether it would continue to expand forever. What they found was intriguing. They found that the expansion of our universe is speeding up because of a mysterious force, a sort of anti-gravity that may eventually catapult the universe into a super fast acceleration that will shred everything into its basic atoms. They have called this nightmare scenario the Big Rip. But before the universe ends, we know for sure that our sun will turn into a red giant, engulfing our planet in about 5 billion years. But even much before that, human beings may be wiped out through an extinction event like the event that wiped out all the dinosaurs, or by a virus, or by extreme climates, or even by the future AI robots fitted with nuclear weapons. But what happens to us after we die? Death is the most profound and mysterious aspect of life, because no matter what stories we have heard, we cannot figure out what it is. Neither science nor philosophy can figure out what death is. Do we fade into the nothingness of non-existence? Or do we reawaken as crying newly born infants? Or do we directly go to heaven or hell? We encounter such mind-bending mysteries while we are here on this planet Earth. Webster's dictionary defines mystery as something that resists or defies explanation. Mysteries invoke a sense of awe and wonder. The incredible world of quantum mechanics takes us to a host of mysterious phenomena like wave-particle duality, observer paradox, quantum entanglement, quantum superposition, and so on. Science may or may not be able to solve many of the mysteries of life. Templeton Prize winner Bernard D. Espignat argues that since there is a reality independent of our observations, objective reality is forever veiled from human knowledge, and science offers only a glimpse behind that veil. The limits of human observation mean that we are unlikely ever to know the whole universe in detail. A mystery is beyond human comprehension, but not against human understanding. It's not a contradiction or absurdity. It is beyond reason, but not against reason. The mysterious puzzles behind the metaphysical problem of the origin of the universe, the origin and destiny of life, cannot be solved by science alone. To find the answer to these mysteries, we need science, philosophy, and theology. They must go hand in hand. The Bible presents a superhuman creator, the God who is beyond the boundaries of our human perception, way beyond our imagination and comprehension and the dimension of time. He exists from everlasting to everlasting, even before space and time came into existence, and He will continue to exist even if the space and time come to an end. He reveals to us the answer to the question of life after death through the words of Jesus Christ in John 14:2. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. Is heaven and hell real? Can we believe in Jesus' statement that he has reserved heaven, a place for those who believe that Jesus died to pay the penalty for their sins on the cross and have turned to Jesus to live a life pleasing to him? If there is a heaven, how and where would it be? Science has shown that there are many dimensions, not only the three spatial and the one-time dimensions that we are aware. Scientists who probe deep into subatomic structures or into the very early stages of the universe find elegant mathematical orders that require extra dimensions beyond these visible dimensions. String theory posits that our universe has 11 dimensions. Though scientists are excited about gleaning any hints of extra dimensions, till now these remain unobserved. They still haven't found that one make or break experiments that can furnish some tangible evidence in settling this great mystery once and for all. The well-documented event, the resurrection of Jesus Christ, or the fulcrum of the Christian faith, shows us that there are dimensions beyond human perception. The Bible says in John 20 that on the third day after the crucifixion and the death of Jesus, his disciples, Mary Magdalene and other women, came early in the morning to Jesus' tomb, which was sealed with a large stone. To their surprise, they found the stone rolled away, but when Peter and John went into the tomb, what they found was something very profound. They saw that the napkins or the covering that was on Jesus' head was not lying along with the linen clothes, but was rolled up separately. Even the other burial linen clothes were lying undisturbed with no body inside it. All this suggested to those perplexed disciples that after the resurrection, Jesus' body went through the clothes and even through the tombstone. We can read that when Jesus met the two disciples on the road to Emmaus, they could not recognize Jesus first. Later, when Jesus stood on the shore at the Sea of Tiberias to show himself to his disciples, even they could not recognize him first. Why was the post-resurrection appearance of Jesus challenging to recognize even for his close ones? We can infer that his body was not a mere physical body. It was a glorious body. He was not a mere spirit, because Jesus showed his hands and his sides to his disciples and asked them to touch, emphasizing his bodily aspects. Apostle John gives records of two distinct occasions when Christ appeared to his disciples who were assembled behind closed doors for fear of the Jews. On both occasions, the account mentions that the doors were shut and Jesus came into the room and stood in their midst. Jesus could eat physical food and he had the crucifixion marks on his body. The resurrection of Jesus was not resuscitation, but it is a cosmic event that transcends space and time. It's a complete victory over death and life. The resurrection of Jesus Christ was an earth-shaking experience for his disciples, and it had a profound impact on them. How could Jesus show himself to his disciples who were inside closed doors? How did Jesus' body come out of the closed tomb and through the walls of a room? This is because after his resurrection, he possessed a glorious body of higher dimension. Flatland, written by Edwin A. Abbott, is a speculative science fiction novel about the nature of reality and higher and lower dimensions. He describes the journey of an unnamed squire who lives in a two-dimensional world to three-dimensional spaceland to one-dimensional lineland and then to a land of 4 dimensions. Suppose a three-dimensional being is translated from our space into higher dimensional space. In that case, he might remain invisible to earthly beings until he returns again to our three-dimensional space. Any advanced higher dimensional being will be unidentifiable and hidden from our senses until the higher dimensional being chooses to reveal itself in a way that the lower dimensional beings can perceive. In a similar way, the eternal, glorious God, who is omnipotent, omniscient, omnibenevolent, and beyond all dimensions, could intervene in his world while choosing to remain invisible. The reality of quarks, the elementary particles that make protons and neutrons in a nucleus, has been established by particle physicists based on many studies. Quarks are in some sense unseen realities. Nobody has ever isolated a single quark in the lab, but particle physicists believe very fervently in the reality of quarks, although it's an unseen reality. In the same way, the unseen God can be seen through His works in our world and through His creation. The historic resurrection of Jesus Christ answers the question of the afterlife, the ultimate question of destiny, giving us the hope that there is a life beyond. The Christian worldview beautifully answers the four ontological questions. Number 1. How does something come out of nothing? Because God is eternal and exists beyond space and time, He can create entities distinct from Himself, including time. Number 2. How does life come from non-life? Because God is a living supernatural entity, He can create life out of non-life. Number 3. How does reason come from non-reason? Because God is the divine logos, He can create reason from chaos. Number 4. How does morality come from non-morality? Because God is eternally love in His Trinitarian being, love being the sum of all virtue, He can create moral beings like us in His image. The beauty of the designer is apparent as one looks inwards towards DNA or outwards towards our sun, our neighboring planets, our galaxy, and so on. The mathematical beauty and patterns inherent in nature invoke a sense of awe and wonder within us and motivate us to find the source of all the beauty and elegance of the universe. This research on the origin of the universe and the origin of life has revealed to me that the weight of evidence for an intelligent designer is overwhelming, and the mind boggles to grasp the minute details of this design. As a scientist for the past 37 years, I found that there is no conflict between being a rigorous analytical scientist and at the same time believing in a supernatural being, a personal God who created the universe and cares for us. In the words of Blake, if the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is. In our age, there are many competing claims to truth, and many people even question whether there is such a thing as truth. Nevertheless, the reason that you are listening to this series is that you are interested in discovering the truth. You might wonder what made me bring forth this 20-series documentary on the cosmos and life. When I was walking towards the path of suicide with my fist against God, God met me in a dramatic encounter while I was dying of pneumonia and was on a ventilator. I had a vision of the cross with the holy blood from it covering my sins, and 3 times I heard a voice say, "I am giving you a new life." That vision changed my life. Though many questioned the validity of my vision, they could not deny the transformation as they saw a transformed person in me, filled with joy and peace. That is the power of meeting the ultimate reality. You will never be the same again. The most important characteristics of a transformed life is to be at rest. That is the importance of the 7th day of rest. Augustine said this about his own experience with restlessness. Our heart is restless until it finds its rest in God. This is the greatest truth that I have discovered during this journey of my life. Entering into a complete rest in God is a beautiful process. It's a journey that takes an entire lifetime. It's not a one-time affair. God takes us through various steps to achieve this. This rest is an incredible thing to possess. I enjoyed creating this 20 series of the grand cosmic story as I was enthralled by the various mysteries of the universe and life. My humble request to each and every one of you is to pursue God, who is the source of all longings and adventure, along with your intellectual pursuit.
By faith, we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible.
Thank you, dear friends. Bye. You can write to me in case of doubts. Share the videos with your friends and subscribe to my channel.